All right, all right, all right, all right. Welcome to this episode of Parables from the Pit, Warrior Week podcast. My guest this week is Jeff, Warrior Week
55.
55. The rainy Warrior Week, man.
Yeah, that was cold.
Damn, it never stopped fucking raining, man.
The whole time.
18 hours of rain. Like, it literally never stopped.
Have you had anything close to that?
No,
since
never.
then?
That was out of all the Warrior Weeks up to now, like 60 Warrior Weeks.
Yeah.
We never. Well, we had rain in the past, but we never had like all day rain.
Wow.
That was like 18 hours of rain. In such that, like the guy, the camera guy, was like, "What the fuck, man? This whole camera, like, doesn't matter how I cover it, it's just wet."
It's still wet. Yeah.
So
Everything was wet.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, so we're gonna go back and we're gonna talk about where this thing started for you, Jeff. Like, what was happening inside of your life, and like, what were you doing that you came across this message, and did it punch you in the face, or did it kind of like pull you slowly in? Like, how did it got you involved?
Sure. It was for me. It was slow at first. About 10 years prior to this, a friend of mine wrote a book, and it talked about kind of building your own symbol, your life symbol. And so I created one. It was 4 dots, and then it had a circle around it and a cross, so every dot was connected to the other one. And the statement that I built with that was, by having balance between my belief in God, my family, my business, and my active adventurous lifestyle, I will achieve my life's goals and dreams. So I built that like 10 years ago.
Wow.
So I had already had the body, being, balance, and business
Yeah, man.
focus in mind, but I didn't have the tools to back it up. And so I don't even remember how I got into the emails for Warrior, but I was getting some emails and some videos with Garrett, and I'd watch him here and there, and over a period of several months. And then when he mentioned body, being, balance, and business, that's when it clicked. I was like, dude, I'm already trying to focus on that stuff. I'm trying to have a good balance with all those things, and I have for years. But when he talked about having the tools and being able to take it to the next level, that really got me excited. So I jumped into King's Kit 6 and went that route and went through King's Kit, and then I did a hot seat with one of the coaches, and he said, hey, with your new business that you've got going on and the expansion, I really recommend you do Warrior Week. And I had always planned to do Warrior Week, but I was thinking like a year or so out.
Yeah.
Good thing I did it when I did it, since everything's changed since then. But yeah, so I got involved with that and just committed to it, and it's been amazing. I mean, King's Kit 6 was November. It's November now, so we're 1 year into being with Warrior, and I get after myself all the time. You're like, man, I'm not where I want to be, but I go back and do a gratitude stack, and I look at everything that I've accomplished just from Warrior Week till now. And it's amazing when you start stacking those things up and looking at actually moving the needle and doing what we want to do in life. Come so far. It's been incredible,
man. So we go back to the first night. Obviously, the first day you guys come in, and then the first night we go through this experience called the Pit. This podcast is called Parables from the Pit. What was your experience inside of that, and like, what happened to you that night, man?
Just coming into this, I didn't know what to expect. Like the prep, I mean, I was hearing guys that were having so many different struggles that I haven't gone through. I haven't ever smoked. I haven't ever drank. I haven't ever had that issue. Those types of addictions haven't been an issue for me. But what I realized quickly is that my whole life had become sedated. Like technology is more my sedation. And just, the relationship with my wife and everything else. And I just didn't realize it. So I didn't know what I was searching for. And one of the coaches, Coach Matt, he looked at me when we were in the bus just doing introductions, and he goes, you don't know why you're here, do you? And I said, no, I don't. And he says, will you submit to this? And I said, yes, I will. And so I tried to be open and allowed to it the first night. Realizing, besides freezing my butt off and trying to figure out all the physical stuff, and working as a team, we were a total cluster getting started. We struggled, man.
I know.
That was brutal. I was getting pissed. But that first night, going through the pit and realizing and opening up how much love I had for my family and the true driver that it was, especially for my queen, and what she means to me. And then one of the most powerful things was at the end of the day when we sat down and did a meditation and kind of introduced the dark warrior and the light warrior. Just growing up in a very religious background, always been light and dark, good and bad, that that type of thing. And so it really made a huge shift for me, taking that light warrior, introducing that dark warrior, and then when we had them come together, the amount of power that I felt and love that I felt, in the meditation, we had them, hugging and seeing each other and then giving me a joint message, and it was just booming. I mean, it just opened me up to realizing that there's so much power out there that's already in me that I just have to let it go and unleash that.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Sitting here, it just kind of reminds me of my journey and how I came into this. Like, literally, 99% of what you're saying is how I was. Like, when I first saw the message of Warrior, it was Garrett on Facebook. And like, I was kind of like resonating with him because he's like, he would do a workout and then he would come back and we'd talk about that workout and the lesson he captured in that workout and how that would apply on body, being, balance, and business.
Yeah.
So, this was the first time I was being exposed to such a conversation. But the reason why I was respecting it, or AKA listening to it, because this is the first time I started listening, it was with two things. One, I was doing CrossFit at that time, and it was kind of new, and I was like kind of excited. And, coming in from a background where I didn't really do any sports, like we grew up in Canada, man, and like it was just hockey. And it wasn't like
hockey's a sport.
Yeah, dude. Like, but it's like a pickup game in the street, right? So it's not really labeled as unless like you played in a league and shit like that.
Sure.
That never happened. But like pickup games happen every night, right? So we go to school, come back, and play on the outdoor arena, and there would be always like 4 or 5 guys against each other. And it was like it's like a little street game, right?
Sure.
But this would happen like 5 to 7 times a week, and it was fun, and we grew up with that. But it really didn't build any athleticism around it. It built skills and mainly just hang out in the street, and it was fun.
Sure.
So when I found CrossFit, it was just like, oh shit, man, this is like fuck yeah, this is new, this is awesome, and so I was really into it, and I saw him doing it, and I would see the kind of workouts he would do. It was like, fuck, man, that's hard, like. So that was the connection piece, the respect that he's doing the work. Right,
Definitely.
That was the concept of the work for me. Then the other thing was like, dude, like this guy was like, it wasn't the fucking, it wasn't pretty boy, you know what I mean? He had this fucking hat backward, and he kind of looked like fucking, he looked ugly, I'm like, okay, I can kind of relate with that, man,
sure, sure.
It's not your pretty boy on the stage with a fucking suit and tie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like I can relate with him. Like he's a normal person, man.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And, he has a wife and he has kids, and it's like, this makes sense to me. This conversation makes sense to me because I can relate to it. So after watching for a while, then I remember Garrett like kind of announced Warrior Week, and it was the first commercial Warrior Week, right? The first one he went to public. There were a few ones before that. Michael Isom came to the first one, but it was really after a 90-day program that Warrior Week was designed to kind of gather everyone. So it was like more of a reunion.
Sure.
And then Garrett decided to reverse that, and it was, first Warrior Week, and he goes on a beach, he goes, I got 8 spot and this, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm here, I'm local, and I kind of reach out to him and say, listen, bro, like, I want this, so got on the interview and so on, and so, and pretty much like you, man, I just didn't know, I had no idea here's what I knew. I was coming to the event. It was mysterious. It was scary, and I didn't know if I don't know what the fuck it was. Like, I didn't know if it was a sports event. I don't know if it was. I had no idea. I had no reference to what kind of event that was because there was nothing like it that existed at that time.
Yeah,
like literally nothing. The only experience I had was that Tony Robbins walking over the fire, which is fantastic and awesome. And I think that was even post-Warrior Week, man. It wasn't before. I'm not sure. But anyway, like I never experienced anything like it, right? Or
Oh,
I had
agreed.
zero reference. So
Yeah.
so I come in and the first question I asked was like, "Why the fuck are you here?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm the only thing I fuck man I remember and I nailed it because till today that's what Warrior Music was about. I didn't know I fucking nailed it. Garrett probably didn't hear me there too. I recall myself saying it. I said, I just want more certainty, right?
Nice.
But I didn't say I want more certainty in my relationship because I felt like I was super certain, like pretty much I got this handle, right? I don't know anybody else to fucking give me advice with my wife. You know what I mean? That was like, that was my mentality. I didn't even think about that. I needed any certainty in my spirituality. I mean, listen, man, it's my relationship with God, and I kind of believe in Him, and that's it, right? And
Yeah.
then in my body, I didn't have certainty, so I was open to I thought that I had a problem, which was like I was overweight and I wanted to like I thought that was like that was the only thing I was seeing. And in my business, I needed certainty because I specifically remember that I shared that with Garrett. So listen, man, I'm sitting around these oil and gas meetings, and all these dudes are like, old dudes from Texas with the accent and the fucking like the fucking white hair, and here I'm a bearded fucking guy. I didn't have a beard at that time, but here I am, a fucking the fucking Middle Eastern looking guy sitting there, although they do a lot of business with Middle Eastern, so they're not you. But anyway, I'm sitting there and, I speak fucked up because I speak Persian, I speak French, and I speak English, and I'm not confident about my accent. I don't know if I'm saying the right words and blah, 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 blah. So I really, at the end of the day, I feel fucking like I don't feel enough around these tables, right?
Yep.
And I always fold and so I want more certainty sitting around this table because I believe like what we have as a product or service at that time. It's just I believe like fuck, we know better than anybody else, right? And I truly felt that because I was in innovation. So, right? And so, and then I get into that and I realized that the certainty that I needed to have and that I gained was truly for myself. And what that was is that I I became open to receive advice in relationship with my wife.
Sure.
I opened up because I was closed. I was close to it, not because I was an idiot, but I was just close to it because I thought that that's a personal relationship. I mean, that's how I was programmed. When you marry someone, that's like between you and that person, and nobody in the world should actually know anything about it. And if anything goes wrong, well, you project something else. You totally project something else, and but nobody should know, right? That was the training that I got growing up, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when it came to my spirituality and relationship with God, it was like, okay, well, dude, like believing is everything, and I realized that believing is not enough. Like, what the fuck? You can sit here and have a story that you believe, but if you don't act upon your beliefs, then you're nothing but a fucking liar, right?
Yep.
In my body, I was like, dude, like I just don't know, right? I just don't know, and I kind of like had zero possession of a sequence or a fucking process or something that I could say I owned. Like I was completely a slave to anybody that would tell me what to do because I really considered that like, okay, well, I don't know anything about my body. So everybody else knows about my body, right?
Yeah.
And in my business, like I shared with you, that like I give myself permission to just be more present inside of the business by being okay with the way I spoke, my accent, or every fucking story that I have myself.
Yeah.
And so I relate to you because I was the guy that didn't know what the fuck to do when I heard Garrett's message for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I was like just paralyzed and listening like this. But after that, like literally, I was paralyzed because it's not that I was a pussy. I didn't know what to do. It's not because I didn't have the courage to do it. It's not like it just didn't know how to process this information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
when you were in the bus and Matt asked you, you have no fucking idea why you're here. It's because it's true. Because like, of course you have an idea. You're here for this experience to kind of become better. That's the overall general concept.
Definitely.
But specifically, like you don't know because you have no idea what the fuck this is.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
I had no expectation because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You can't when you're going into something, say, hey, I'm going to do this, 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 and this.
Right.
You generally know what the outcome's going to be, and I'm looking at this going, well, I just want to be better. And I didn't realize how much I had to tear down to build myself back up. That was surprising to me when I really dug deep and got into the pit and looked around and said, hey, you know, I've got all these different issues that I got to work through. That was, you know, that cracked me wide open.
Dude, I was talking to a guy today, and you know, legit guy gets in about $1.5 million in his trust at 18.
Wow.
Right? Kind of what his dad got, and that enables him as well. But dad burned all the money, and so he kind of repeats the same thing. Not necessarily following dad, but the universe, I guess, copy-pasted and made it happen. So within all the way to 22, he's burned the money. He's now living as a homeless guy. Right? And then after a while, he's like, okay, it's not going to be like this. And he starts making smart changes, and, you know, he starts washing cars, and from washing cars, he's like mobile, you know, this mobile washing cars that goes to places, and he washes cars, and now he wash high-end cars, and from there he gets another job at the community, and so on and so on. Short story long, 7 years, he's running a capital organization right now. He's a CEO. He's making, you know, good, decent money, but he should be making $250,000, but he kind of took his salary and he kind of split it between directors and so on and so on. And so everybody's making 80, but not everybody's doing. There's one CEO, so he's doing the CEO president job, which is there's a lot, but he's kind of giving that. And then he kept talking to me about how he was in gang and how he was, you know, kind of like grew up in gang, and he still is, and he still honors that or respects some of the stuff in there, but he had to play it really safe to protect his family, and like it's a borderline how to operate, and this and this and this and this and this and this. And all this, and then he starts talking about how, you know, it's been 7 years, he wants to put this book out, and like, dude, so he starts talking, and he's fluent in what he's saying. He's in his flow, right? And he's in his flow. And I'm subscribed to it. I'm like, yeah, man, this motherfucker is real, right? And so and then out of nowhere, I just stop him and say, okay, when was the last time you were fucking punched in the face? He goes, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, literally, when was the last time you were punched in the face, like a physical punch? He goes, well, it was 5 years ago. Went to this convenience store, and you know, one thing led to another one. There's a fight, and you know, I fought, and I got a punch, and I fought, man. And I said, well, how did I feel? He said, yeah, man, that you know, quite frankly, that felt really good. I said, yeah, that's precisely the fucking problem. You haven't had that feeling for 5 fucking years. And I'm not saying you should go punch someone or get punched in the face, but that feeling is not showing up in business. That's why you're not punching whoever you need to punch in order to get paid more. Like, literally, you should punch yourself for fucking distributing the money that you have to somebody else. It's like giving a trophy to all the soccer team. Like, no. Why all the soccer team get a fucking trophy? The winner gets the trophy. So that's what you're doing in your business. And inside of like his knowledge and everything that he learned from losing it all, right? You're talking about a guy that had the Ferraris, the sports car, the nice house, you know, the money to just like fucking burn, and then living in a tent as a homeless for a period of time. And like, that's a hard drop, right?
Yeah, it is.
And you're talking about a guy that has now established trust for kids that are in high school. Like literally kids coming out of high school, they'll have money, but he's done it intelligently and distributed, right? So he's a really smart fucking guy. I'm like fucking impressed about this guy, the way he evolved, like 5 kids and how he's done things.
Wow.
And then, but I'm like, okay, bro, like, where is the fucking book?
Still giving it away.
You have so much knowledge, you have so much intuition, where the fuck is the book? You've been sitting on it 7 years. Like, the guy that got punched in the face and the guy that fought back, that guy hasn't showed up for fucking 5 years at least.
That's a good point.
And so it kind of like fucked him up because he's like, well, and he didn't know what to say. And he started going to a place where he started labeling things being good. And the whole conversation, I say this often, and you probably said it at Warrior Week too, and I said like, well, dude, when you say things are good right now, like the truth is good is not good enough tomorrow. Like that's simply the truth because of the way the world is evolving. And if nothing is evolving, well, there's one component in it that's evolving. It's your children. Like, if you have teenagers under 13, things are going to be fucking different when they're 14.
Oh, yeah.
Their desires, how they feel about themselves, how the society makes them feel, their comparison, their sexual orientation is something that...
And time's limited with them.
Dude, and time's limited, right?
Yeah.
And so inside of that, they're getting so many advice. They're getting anybody on their phone that is now their fucking consigliere, man.
Yeah, YouTube. I mean, shoot, social media,
Educate,
anything.
self-education, YouTube, and like subscribing to what's out there, and ultimately, without investigation, labeling it as this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
And so you and I are working against that. So as dads, we're gonna have massive amount of fucking influence. And you guys that are listening, like we have to have massive amount of influence and persuasion because we are dealing with the world out there that is just putting information out.
Oh yeah.
And if our kids are subscribers to that information and you are not there enough to influence them, guaranteed that what's out there, their voices, is gonna override your voice.
Definitely.
And it's gonna fucking hurt. Right? Yeah. And then you look back and it's like, okay, well, 7 years I didn't write the book. Okay, I built the trust for the kids, and I think I know some stuff, but I just want more skills. But there are no skills. There's one fucking skills, which is allowing that piece of you inside of you to coexist with the other piece. Yeah, the piece of you that wants to love and the piece of you that wants to make shit happen. That's the concept of light warrior and dark warrior. And when you actually see that, those two components together as your totality, like truly the essence of your totality, and you accept that, now you can call upon it to serve you.
Yes.
You can call upon it to write the fucking book because the purpose of the book is to impact another man's life. Why? Well, because you were gifted to receive the experience that you got, right? Losing, who the fuck gets $1.5 million at 18?
No kidding. Man. Give us all $1.5 million right now, we'd be off to
Dude,
the
I
races.
had like fucking $25 at 18, man.
Yeah.
But I would make the most out of it. Like with that, I would take the fucking bus. I would go to the club. I would slide in at least one drink. I would order like a Coke, and then I would have like alcohol inside with me, and I would like put it in there. So shit would happen. One time we pushed the fucking envelope, and me and my cousin went in, and we just like this was our thing. Like we would bring in a small bottle of alcohol inside, buy a Coke. Yeah. Right? And then ask for an empty glass with ice. And then all night keep like pouring into it and add the Coke. And like kind of like that was our thing.
Like you're sipping the Coke.
And it was happening.
Oh, man.
It was happening. But then we pushed the fucking envelope. One night we got into a club with a fucking like a 40 ounce, right?
Yeah.
And it became like fucking obvious. And the bunch was like, get the fuck out, man. Like, what the fuck are you doing? So
that's funny.
The point is, the experience that was given, and if truly the impact of it needs to be captured, then there needs to be a guy that moves the needle.
Yeah.
Right? And compassion and kindness will just move the needle in so many other ways. But there is this piece inside of us that simply needs to come out and execute. And that piece, for most of us, is tied into guilt and shame. That's why it doesn't come out. Yeah. That's why we don't trust it, because we feel if it comes out, he may do some harm because of the harm done in the past to us or what we have done. And inside of that, that's the trap that gets us disassociated with the powerful piece inside of us that can make shit happen because we have the wrong perception of it.
Yeah.
So
it's the need for protection versus the want to be open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that experience, as you're sharing it, changed me as well. So fast forward inside of that week, and it's been a year. Talk to me about life kind of like before Warrior Week.
Sure.
And post Warrior Week, like all area, man, like your family and business, like start like, cause I talked for a while, but now I want to hear like your side. I want to hear the sequence of the impact that you created for you. Not Warrior Week, not Warrior or anybody else, but like ultimately, like, dude, you fucking built the guy that's sitting here right now in front of this mic. And a year ago, you were in this place, but you were in a different room in the back. And we all know what's going on there. But so literally to be here, sitting here in the front line telling the story, tell us the pieces that you've put together throughout this year.
Sure. Well, and actually it hasn't even been a year. We were the first week of February.
Oh, okay.
So it was a year when I did my King's Kit when I first got introduced to Warrior. But, you know, what changed there is I was just sick of mediocrity. It just felt like everything was just on an even keel. Just kind of moving, just sedated and moving along. And same thing with the relationship with my wife. We loved each other. we cared about each other, but it was functional. It wasn't passionate. It wasn't as emotional as it could be. Again, we were just kind of asleep and sedated. And after Warrior Week, and I came back, and the prep was hard. It pushed me the preparation month before Warrior Week to open some things up, and then just submitting to the process when I was there was huge. And then once I got home, I shared that with my family, and I sat down and was talking to my family and read them some of the things that I had written down on my war map. And my little girl, who was 8 at the time, I was crying at the time. It was very emotional. Pretty much everybody in the family was crying at different points. And when I was done, my little girl Isabel, she looked at me and she said it wrong. She was trying to say that was intense, and she's just like, that was tense. Like, but it was so cute. She's like, it was. She just, she had tears in her eyes, gave me a big hug. She's like, that was tense, Dad.
Yeah, tense.
I'm like, no, it was
I like it.
intense, sweetie. But yeah, I mean the relationship that I've had with my boys, I've got a senior in high school and a freshman. And so,
What are the names?
Marshall is a senior and Morgan is a freshman.
Shout out to Marshall and Morgan. What's
you
up,
go.
boys?
So I love my boys. We when we moved to New Mexico, it's a very small town, only about 6,000 people.
Yeah.
We had been doing martial arts for about 10 years before that.
What practice?
It's Kempo based, but it's a modern style. So Kempo based, and then we
Is
had
that like
some
the wood
jiu-jitsu
with
in
the
as
with
well.
the? Do you guys do it with the with wood sticks? No.
No, I mean we're doing mostly stand up, and then as they get to a higher belt level, we go to ground techniques as
So it's
well.
Kempo.
So Kempo based, Shotokan is mixed in there, and then jiu-jitsu as well.
Is it like very similar to Aikido?
A little bit. We do some wrist locks and some throws and things like that.
Okay.
So it's like I said, it's modern. So it's a mix of different things.
It's awesome, man.
But so we just started doing a couple nights a week we teach, and my boys and I we're all second degree black belts, and I love teaching with my boys and spending time with my boys. But since Warrior Week, I've been able to open up because I opened up myself and had more deeper and earnest conversations with them about what's happening in their life. And Marshall, especially being a senior in high school, he came up to us a few months ago and goes, Dad, I'm scared. And I said, well, what are you scared about? And he's just like, I'm going to be graduating in a few months. He's like, game's over. Like, it's a whole new world. Like, playtime is done. And so both of them are super smart. I don't know where they get it from. Yeah, my wife and I didn't have those grades, but I mean, he's over a 4.0. My other son's over a 4.0. They're just super smart. Already taking college classes and things like that.
Wow.
So, just very, very proud of my kids. But what I'm most proud of is that they've opened up in the last several months, and we've just had some amazing conversations, just about life. And I've shared with them about my life. One thing is to let them know that I'm human. I fuck up all the time. I make mistakes. It doesn't matter, but I love them no matter what. And just the depth of the conversations that we've had have been incredible. And then with Darcy, coming back, like I said, things were functional. So, when it came to sex, it was few and far between for years, for a long time. And that just kind of became the norm. And when you're sedated like that, you just go with it. But of course, back in my mind, it was always, I wish we'd have more sex. I wish we'd be more intimate with each other.
Yeah.
We should have better conversations. And that was just kind of building up over years and years and years. And after I got back, we joked around with our Kings group, but it was like sex every day for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And we had also had our 20th anniversary in that 3-month period.
Nice.
So sometimes it was multiple times a day. So this year, it's like we've had more sex this year than we've had in our whole 20 years of marriage put together.
Wow.
So the intimacy level just exploded. And I remember about a week and a half after I got home, we were sitting there, it was in the morning, and she just rolled over and she goes, you know what, thank you for waking us up. And she had tears in her eyes, and it was just a beautiful moment. And it was later that day, she just kind of chuckled, and I go, what? And she goes, I just realized it's called Wake Up Warrior. And she's like, I was telling you, thank you for waking us up. So, she's really adopted what we're doing. She sees what I've done and how I've changed and the focus that I've had and the power I've been able to generate personally in what you're doing. And she'll call me out. Like just about a week and a half ago, she goes, how's your core 4 doing? And I go, frankly, it's not been as intense and focused as it needs to be. She goes, I can tell.
Yeah.
You know, my kids speak in warrior language. They're like, Dad, I'm getting triggered by something. I'm like, all right, what is it? You know, and I've implemented stacks with our executive team.
Yes.
With the business, and so we've started doing that. And same thing, speaking the language, and they know. It's like in the mornings, I could easily get up, start doing emails, start doing this, start doing that, get into work stuff, and I'm like, you know what? Do not bug me until after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, that is my time. I'm getting things done. I'm getting my core 4 done.
Yeah.
And I notice a huge difference in myself. You know, just this week, I had it was Tuesday morning, had an awesome morning, had everything lined up for work. Core 4 was just right on point. Everything from meditation down to messages to my family, and it just blew up the day. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I now have the tools. It's not that you know, warrior necessarily is pushing me to do something. It's still me pushing, but it's the tools that warrior has given me, and the ability to be with other men who are fighting the same fight, who want to do the same things. And that is huge to me.
So ultimately, you know, people ask, like, what is warrior? Like, we get asked this all the time because, you know, wear these T-shirts and
Sure.
we're on the beach, and like the fucking typical thing is, what are you guys? Humans.
Yeah.
But that's the typical question, and ultimately, there's two ways to answer, right? You know, if the time and space is there to sit down and truly like transcend the message,
Sure.
then we get into it and say it's basically called wake up warrior, and so essentially wakes a warrior up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our clients are warriors. They come in and they're awake, and the warrior within is awakened, and it operates.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly the feedback from your wife. I realize that it's wake up warrior, and thank you for waking us up, aka thank you for leading us, right? Because the king needed to be awakened.
Yes.
And so when that takes place, then like once you label yourself as a warrior of life, not necessarily a warrior, the guy that's seen in the martial art, not necessarily the guy that's seen the characteristic that's the guy that's seen at war, although there are some of that, but truly a warrior of this game of life, a warrior inside of production and business, a warrior inside of, you know, extracting power from your body, not being a victim of, you know, how you should look like on a fucking magazine or compare yourself to a guy, you know, muscle-wise or strength-wise, but truly what gives you power. Like, you may be a guy that physically may be very different, but the knowledge that you have internally inside of your body, the understanding of your physiology, your biology, your spine, and the energy, and inside of the like your aura, your chakra, all that shit, man, to put it all together, you have that knowledge, like, you know about your body. And you're the kind of guy that's like, okay, able to differentiate between your biology and your consciousness and your mind, and understand your mind and how it operates when you are aware, when you're not aware. Like, when you understand that, you transcend from biology to psychology, you're still in the fucking body, because your psychology is all your own fucking brain.
Yep.
So the understanding of body and empowering the body goes beyond these places. You know this in martial art. You know the practice of the, I forgot the, was it Nigan or Nig? Anyway, it's this, it's the what's it called? The fist, something. The fist, like it's a fist that almost touches you but never touches you, but it has massive amount of impact. Like literally, it can explode your kidneys as the pitch. It's a punch that comes with energy, right? So it's a transfer of energy, and it's years of fucking practice. And so, you know, it's impact without touch that is practiced in martial art. That's all fucking body, man, right?
It is.
And if you pursue that path, that's empowering your body, right? What the purpose is and why you would do it, it's all like your choices. The skills that one would have in sports. Like, you look at a guy like fucking Messi, it hasn't been like they call him the extraterrestrial, like, because he's so good at what he does. He's the only one. And so many other. So these skills, as you see him, not only in Messi, but little kids, Like there's some kids and like, fuck, that's the next Messi,
Yeah.
or that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
next Kobe,
Yep.
and so on and so on. And so the exploration of the body and inside of your being and spirituality, and same thing in all the other areas, right? There comes a subscription to a standard of what warrior is, and that's what warrior stands for. Warrior stands for yes or no. That's it. It eliminates the land of maybe. And so the commitment is yes or no. If you're committed, you go all in. If you're not committed, great, but you have put some fucking power behind your no.
Yes.
Right? If you say no, say it with power. If you're scared or if you have stories, all that, that's a weak no. But if you say, like many times we say no to a lot of things, and we are very certain of why we're saying no.
Sure.
No, fuck off. It's not a war, but no, right? It's a no. It's pure 100% certainty. And there's a yes, there's a yes. Because there's dedication to that energy. There's dedication to that commitment. So all it is wake up warrior and yes or no. That's it. Like, oh, what do you guys do? Oh, we wake up and then we live in the land of yes and no. Oh, I get that. Yeah, we don't live in the land of maybe.
Yeah.
So if I told you I'm going to be there tomorrow at 8, I will be tomorrow there at 8.
Correct.
And if I told you I'm going to be there every day at 8, I will be there every day at 8. Because why? Because I told you.
Certainty and commitment.
That's it. Or because it's required for me to be there at 8. I don't know why. I was told by the voice I need to be there at 8.
Yeah.
That's what the stacking is, right? When you start like asking yourself questions and getting guidance from yourself and getting very clear what is required for you to do. And then you do that thing that is required.
Yes.
Without
definitely.
guilt, without shame, without hesitation, without fear. And there's a subscription to yes or no. And like ultimately that's how you operate with your children. Did you say dick and balls in YMCA today? Yes or no? Like literally that was my question to Nikon, my son, about 45 minutes before I was here.
Okay.
I went to pick him up. I got this yellow paper. It says Nikon said dick and balls for 15 minutes. I go, okay, that's cool. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have him read the paper. So he reads the yellow paper, and Nikon says dick and balls. And he goes, I was singing a song, I don't know, some Christmas song that says ding and balls. And like, but I said, did you say dick and balls, yes or no? So he says, no. I said, okay.
Okay.
Was your intention when you were singing that,
Yeah.
like, was your intention to say dick and balls, meaning that you were saying ding and bong and ding and bong?
Ding dong, ding dong.
Were you,
Yeah.
were you like, that's why you were laughing? He goes, yes. I said, okay. So it came across as you said dick and balls. They've heard it. You said dink and dong, but your intention was so strong that it made it sound like that. He goes, yes. I said, don't do that, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sing Rudolph or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I said, don't. It goes, well, why? I go, because that's an institution. The institution has rules.
Sure.
Okay. If the teacher in there is in charge, their responsibility is make sure that this kind of words is not saying within that room. Now, if that teacher decides to come to your house in your room, you can say dick and balls as much as you want, man.
Yep.
And then I called him Mr. Balls, and we started laughing, and he went inside. But
That's an awesome story.
but that's what it is, right?
Sure.
So here's what I would have done in the past. That fucking yellow paper, I've got a collection of that yellow papers,
Oh wow.
and I would have give all the rights to whoever that wrote the yellow paper,
Mm-hmm.
and as if they're 100% right, and the truth would get buried inside of him. The truth was something. It's true. He didn't say dick and balls.
Yeah.
But I know what his intention was, so I asked him about the intention, and he said the truth.
Sure.
So therefore, we both understand each other. So it's a land of yes or no. There's no maybe. Because if there would be a maybe left for him, and there would be a maybe left for me, it's unresolved.
Totally.
And we have an unresolved relationship growing up. And no wonder when he's going to get 22, and he's going to be in a maybe situation. Well, dude, he's not going to come to a maybe kind of guy.
Yeah.
He wants to go to a kind of guy that gets yes or no.
Definitely. Definitely.
And so
Yeah.
that's what warrior is. Wake up, and it's a constant choice to say yes or no. Did you do your core 4? Yes or no? No. Did you do your stack today? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know you have to do your core 4 in order to empower yourself every morning? Yes. Do you know that you are fucking this up by not doing it? Yes. Are you clear?
Yes.
Okay. We move forward. It's a yes or no. There's no excuses. You can see like you can't. There's no room to say yes, but.
Yeah. Correct.
And so I had to train myself for over 7 years on this philosophy. Because
It can be a hard transition. We're so accustomed to creating stories and just squashing down the truth of it just enough. Leave a little bit of truth so you can spin your story.
There we go.
I mean, that is so common in everything. I mean, kids do it all the time. We see it at work.
Leave a little bit of truth. As so well said, man. Leave a little bit of truth so that you can keep spinning on that foundation saying, well,
Yep.
and we do that all the time. The fucking banks do it all the time.
Sure.
The financial institutions.
Yeah. I'm the youngest of four, so that was my survival mode for getting through life.
You know who else does this? This fucking guy, like when you go and buy a house or whatever, this guy, so-called the underwriter.
Oh,
no
yeah.
one know who the fuck this guy is. And he always fucks with everything.
It's not a real person. It just sits in a file.
I fucking hate that guy, man. It's not a guy. It's true. It's like a group of guys. It may be actually no one. It's a front line,
They have
man.
a bunch of monkeys in a closet and they're just stamping on paper. I mean, there's nothing really happening.
It's like, the underwriter didn't like those papers. They want you to submit. Who is the fucking underwriter, man?
Yeah. Really, what happened is the loan officer lost your paperwork, and they're too scared to admit it.
The underwriter.
Yeah, the underwriter did it. I mean, they use that excuse for everything. That's
Or
like
the bank said no to your loan,
Yeah.
but
You're
he
the
didn't
bank.
he didn't care to give you the message because he's not getting any commission on that. And
Yeah.
3 weeks later, he's like, the underwriter did not prove it, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you are an underwriter, do not be offended by this, and we'd love to have you on the show to explain what the fuck is an underwriter.
Exactly.
So let's talk about your boys, man.
Okay.
What's the game plan? What they're doing, and what's ahead for them?
So Marshall would like to serve a 2-year mission for our church.
Nice.
So he's wanting to do that, and he's going to take off, and the church asked him where to go. So we don't know where he's going to go, but that's something he wants to do.
Oh, so the church sends him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Does he have a choice, or he just gets the letter, he opens up?
He just says, hey, I want to go.
Okay.
Submits an
What are
application,
the
go.
top 3 locations that would be awesome for him if he gets it?
You know, he loves Europe. He would like to go to Scotland or someplace like that. I went to Paris, France, so I speak French as well.
Ah oui.
On peut parler
Ah
français.
oui, c'est
Ça fait
très
un peu de
bien.
temps, mais on peut le faire tout de même.
Yeah, très bien.
So, yeah,
it's
it's
very
been a
nice.
while,
I didn't know
but-
that.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
So
we
lived
could have done this in French.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Okay, and then
And so
France
that,
would be great for him too. He would love France.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he would love
Dude.
going to Europe and be anywhere in Europe. And so after that, we're looking at some different schools for business. We have some technology partners down in Las Cruces, and
Yeah.
they're working with New Mexico State down
Yeah.
there, doing a lot of very cool high-tech healthcare things. So where healthcare's, they're looking at how seniors will walk and do fall prevention and stuff
Oh
like
shit,
that.
yeah, okay,
So
okay.
they're really getting into some high-tech stuff. They've built this wonderful AI character that's on a tablet that you can place cameras around the home, and they can do physical therapy. They can do fall prevention.
Is it a hologram?
Well, it's just on a tablet.
Oh, on a
it's not-
tablet, okay.
It's not 3D, but she's a virtual caregiver. Name's Addison Care.
Yeah.
And just some amazing things they're doing. So, they for our main business, they provide the technology, we provide the service. That's what
Wow,
our business
that's
does.
amazing,
so we
man.
married that together. Nobody else in the industry is doing that right
It's
now.
fantastic, man.
And so that's why everything's just going crazy with business, which is good. We've got good problems to have.
Yes.
And but Marshall, we're talking about there in a couple different schools, but I know, if I get him down there, he wants to get into business. So I said, look, business, marketing, technology, you need to have those 3 married
Yes.
together. The marketing and technology piece, that's how marketing's going. It's all
Yes.
going to be technology based. And then he likes the business, so he enjoys. We'll talk a little bit about business and what we're doing. We also own some real estate that my wife manages. So we just talk about that and very open about, hey, here's things where I screw up in my life, financially or this or that. If I could go back and make the decision, here's what I do. So trying to give him options, put him on the path that would be a good path, but also one that he's wanting to go on. So kind of that strategic seduction. I'm putting things out there, letting it be his decision, but giving him enough information that he can make that choice for it.
That's awesome, man.
Morgan just loves life, man. He is the nicest kid ever. He's awesome. Both of them. One thing about this small town is it's kind of like, the old game Sim City, kind of like build your own little city. So, we built a karate studio. We've got some rentals. We're building this business, and it's huge. It's based based in this town, they haven't had a business bring in 18 new jobs in a year and a half,
Yeah.
like ever.
Yeah.
So, this small little town, they're really excited. We've got locations in Detroit and in Denver and soon to be in Phoenix. So, I mean, that's growing, expanding, but the boys are really involved, and there's a really cool theater. It's a 104 years old Playhouse Theater.
Hmm.
And so they do a lot of community plays, which
Nice.
we didn't know they would even enjoy. But they do like 2 or 3 a year, and they're hilarious. Like my boys have some awesome
Comedy skill.
on-stage comedy presence. Like, oh man, I'll have to show you a video.
Yeah, I
but,
wanna see some of that.
They did Robin Hood this summer, and Morgan was Robin Hood,
Yeah.
and Marshall was the king.
Yeah.
And so he was just playing up this pompous, king bit, and he was really good at it. And after we were done, we're like, all right, you're gonna have to tone down the pomp a little bit. And then, we were joking. We're like, next play, you're gonna be like somebody's servant, like running around, like, yes, master, yes, master.
Yes.
So
That's awesome, man.
but they do well. I mean, I'm very very proud dad. I love my boys. Very proud of what they're doing. They're making good decisions. Our relationship is, even though it was good before, it's been much closer now. That is still a challenge I have, is trying to do like a weekly date night with all of them. I'm getting better at I'm rotating, like I'm doing one date night with a kid each week. Schedule-wise, that just seems to work better. And Isabel, of course, wants to be every week. She's just like, Dad, when are we going out? When are we going out?
Yeah.
But yeah, with the boys, I'm just very proud of them. I wish, I wish I could be like them, actually. When I think about back when I was a kid, I'm like, man, I wish I could be as good as they are.
It's amazing.
So,
yeah, beautiful, man. So we're going to have, next year, I'm going to put an event together, fathers and son.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to have a 2-day event here. It's going to be a nice event. We're just going to get everybody on the same page. It's not going to be like Warrior Week guaranteed, but it's going to be... It's gonna be the habits of code 4 to stack, and getting that into the motion, and introducing that into their life early on, and the numerous amount of encounters and relationship they're gonna come across. And I can just go back, and if I would have the gratitude stack as a tool, and that I could send messages to everybody that I came across in the past fucking 20 years, the amount of connection and relationship that would have been forged and maintained. I can't even imagine the fucking bandwidth of that. You know what I mean?
Huge.
And just remove any fucking piece of anxiety, or remove any piece of just people like hating you for a while for no reason because you didn't reach out to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't really hate you. It's just like, bitch, you haven't even talked to me for a while.
Yeah.
And then to be able to like connect that way. So anyway, we're gonna have the father and son event coming up here. We'd love to have you here.
Awesome.
I don't know the exact date, but we'll do some physical stuff.
Yeah.
We'll do some fun stuff. Maybe do some, half a day sport competition, and maybe go to the field like we were, rent an entire field and do some sports competition there just to get the blood flowing with the boys, and then we'll come back in the office and we'll do some work on fact maps, stacks, and as well as those tools to get them in their life as needed on demand when they want it.
Yeah.
And so to build those habits. So hey, listen, man, if you would have a message here, like, obviously you're a proud father, and if you have a message for another proud father that's perhaps listening to this audio, or somebody that wants to be proud, right, or feels shitty right now because they feel not enough as a dad, if you would have a message and you would just like kind of like whisper it in their ears, what would that message be?
That's a good question. With doing the martial arts and teaching karate,
Yeah.
I'm gonna back up a little bit. I see so many kids coming in there that we teach that their dad is just not around. And so the boys become their role model, or I become their role model, and things like that. And, I get pissed off. I'm like, where is the fucking dad? Like, what is going on? Why as dads and fathers are we not stepping up to take care of these kids? And it just makes me so mad. I just get in a rage over it. And so, you just have to show up. That's it. Show up. Be present. Just be there and let it happen. Nobody has written a book on, well, they've written books on being dads, but nobody knows how to be a good dad. every situation's different. Every person's different. The psychology, the personality, location, whatever. Relationship between spouses, that affects them. My parents were divorced, but the biggest thing is just show up, just be there.
Beautiful message. I mean, if you have to visualize this as if you have currently your son in karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, or like just fucking martial art, right? If judo, wrestling, if you have him in those classes and you're not bringing him to the classes and you're not sitting there and watching him for an hour, like just do that. Just starting next week, bring him to the class.
Start there.
Show the fuck up. Leave the phone in the car so you're not on your fucking phone while he's practicing. And just be there.
Yep.
And you'll get consumed. You get consumed because it's first of all, it's an environment that you'll like. Like the inner alpha inside of you is going to connect with that environment, guaranteed. So you're going to get consumed by that energy field, guaranteed. It's just going to take some time. Then to see your own son inside of that, you're just going to get consumed, and it's going to be the best fucking hour that you had after a while, after a long time. So just do that. That's showing up.
Yep.
That's showing up. And if you get that feeling, then repeat it again. And next thing you know, this becomes your thing.
Yep.
Like this becomes your thing for you and your son, and you've created something so simple without not doing anything. Like fuck your comfort on getting late at home or driving, or just don't delegate it to your wife. Don't delegate it to the fucking nanny. Don't delegate it to the bigger brother. You bring him.
Yeah, definitely.
And you'll make the teacher happy, and you'll make him happy. But above all, you'll make yourself happy. Gentlemen, I want to thank Jeff for being on our guest at the show. You guys can find out more details about the show on warriorweeknow.com. There's going to be audios, videos, and transcripts of this show, and as well as if you like to start your awakening journey, if you would like to start your journey here at Wake Up Warrior, the site to go is becomeaking.com. You'll be taken through the 7 pitfalls, and you'll be taken through the option of joining us inside of the 3 journeys that we have for you: the Warrior's journey, the King's journey, as well as an Empire journey, depending on where you want to land and how you want to operate and what your capacities are today in order to do the work and get familiar with the concept of Wake Up Warrior. For those of you that have been loyal to our podcast and listening to this every week, I want to extend a thank you to all of you. We don't do that a lot. In fact, this is the official first time after fucking 80 podcasts thanking the guys, aka the homies listening to the podcast. We're not a really popular podcast, but we're getting in there. 2,000-3,000 people that are regularly listening to this.
Oh, there you go.
And it's not gonna win the records anywhere, but that doesn't matter. And you guys, if you felt the message here that kind of resonates with you, and you know a man in your life that you can identify that could truly benefit from just this conversation, take the link and send it to them. We don't ask you to share. It's not about a contest of popularity, but pay it forward. Just find one guy. And if it's the same fucking guy that you've actually forwarded the past 10 podcasts, just keep fucking hunting that motherfucker until he resonates. And maybe he subscribes to becomeaking.com. Maybe he'll order the book on Amazon or anywhere, man, and just starts getting it. Or maybe he's awakened to this conversation and he goes to church or he goes somewhere else. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is just pass it forward. So, Jeff, final words?
If you're the guy listening to this that thinks, I don't need it, I'm okay, you're the one that needs it.
Yeah.
Because you're telling lies to yourself right there.
That piece of resistance is right there.
That is right there.
Right there.
If you're the guy that says, no, I'm good, everything's good.
Yeah.
I don't need this.
Yeah. Or I need a little bit more specific skills.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you're the guy that needs to do this.
You're definitely the guy that needs to do this.
For sure.
Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Jeff, thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.